talk to us about Lampricide threats and opportunities as the Sea Lamprey Control Program looks forward.
Thanks, John. Can you hear me okay? If I look like I'm staring off blindly, I kind of am because I forgot my glasses. I can't see past about the fourth row, but I can read that. Anyways, I got asked to do this talk, and it's not just me giving this talk. There are people from every organization you see on that slide who contribute to this in some way or shape or form. Many can't be here for various reasons. I gave this talk last week, and this was the outline. I'm going to try to stick to it. However, I also ran out of time last week, so I'm going to try to touch upon the opportunities as I go through the slides instead of waiting till the end. I'll still run out of time. However, I'm going to try and nail this better. The Venn diagram's not symmetric on purpose because at any given time, those topics that are inside them can be the issue of the day or the most important thing for us to deal with. So what I'll start off with though is laying out the playing field. In this room there's quite a few of our staff here who are on control, and there's quite a few people who used to be on control here, and they'll know this story, so if I don't do it justice, I apologize now, but I'll try. We've been doing this work for 40 to 60 years, depending on what Great Lake you're on. Not me personally, not that old, but we still rely on just two chemicals, as you saw, TFM and baiocide, or nicosamide. This picture here shows two guys doing a treatment, and they're using both chemicals because we use nicosamide in a liquid formulation to reduce the amount of TFM we need and save money. I'm not going to talk about the chemical properties of either, but I will talk about some of the challenges we have with respect to using them, and you'll see what I mean soon. Our work is well organized. The Commission has a very organized structure, and we have the Larval or Lampricide Control Task Force. I'm going to call it the Larval Control Task Force for this meeting, because we do a lot more than just apply Lampricides in terms of planning and stuff like that. We meet twice a year. It's chaired by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service right now. Lori Krieger chairs it, and we have members from each of the three offices that were talked about in the previous slide. There's about 16 members from the committee who voted on this list I'm going to talk about, which I'll get to soon. So in 2025, this is, you might not be able to see it, but if you just look at all the red dots, those are all the treatments we have planned for this coming year. We rely on larval assessment, who you will hear from later today, to tell us where to go on each stream and which ones to do in any given year. It's a really integrated program based on adult, larval, and even juvenile assessment. It's not the biggest factor, but it's important too. I'll tell you, I might not get to that, I'll probably forget. For really big treatments like the rifle or manistee, all three crews need to be together and deliver those. So, and we travel a lot. We travel like 80 80 nights a year to do that program. So if anyone reduces our staff or restricts our travel, our entire plan is jeopardized because we work plan right down to the staff day for each treatment. In our office, all but, there's about, let's say there's 75 people, all but 3 biologists don't go in the field, and 3 admin people stay, the rest all go out in the field. So once we get our menu, our list of streams to do, we plan, after doing this for 40 to 60 years, we have all those history books, and we know how to plan around the climate that we're accustomed to. So we start down in my office, start down in New York, work our way northwards. Typically would have ended in Superior later in the summer. But there are challenges to that approach, and one of them is weather itself. So in the shoulder seasons, these guys were down in New York in April 2018, and that's what we got when we got there. You can't treat when it's that cold, because TFM is not as effective under 4 Celsius. And as you heard in ZFO, we take care of the New York side. We help in Michigan. Any border restrictions impact that work. When it comes to actual treatment time, we have 2 main methods. One is the spray boat, and one of our guys is here who runs that boat. He could tell you all about it. However, in any case, over time, we've rise to challenges to do with technology. So that boat is highly technologically advanced. It has GPS. If you've watched the shows about crop fertilizing out in the west, or even harvesting, those combines run miles. This boat has that same tech, and it works a lot faster than the boat you saw in the older picture earlier. Our other work is based on peristaltic pumps, which that fellow's using in the Garden River, and even those are better now than they used to be. The bits and pieces of them cost more, but they work better and give us a better range of application. So when we put chemical in either location, we need to know certain things. The TFM one is specifically, we need to know alkalinity and pH in the stream, because at UMass they've developed nice toxicology charts for us to know what to apply and how we measure discharge in the river to figure out the rate. The challenge to this area is people see these 2 visible types of methods and are curious, or they oppose it, which I'll get to later. And the other one is we're still reliant on just those 2 chemicals. So an opportunity there, and UMass is working on it, it's challenging for them, is to develop new Lampricides. So I finally made it to that list I talked about. What happens, we had this little focus group. No, we had this strategy type meeting, and about 16 people itemized 9 items. I'm only going to talk about the top 4. The bottom 4 are all about climate, which I have to talk about a little bit because you can't avoid it in our business. But then I'll try to touch on those other top 4 things. If you want to simplify it, I would just call the top 1 non-targets or species at risk. Second one, pesticide use. Third one, barriers, the loss of particularly. And the last one is federal, state regulatory requirements, or the rules. So the environment first. In our state, all of our work is based on historical, experiential, or science-based standard operating procedures. We have Appendix H is all about when is the best time to treat streams and different water bodies. And this itself is being challenged because we're starting to find out, as we move from north to south or the other way, what we had back in 1970 is different than what we have now. This was developed around 2010, finalized. So even since that time, some of these dates need to get revised, but we haven't yet. So last year, Sean Nowicki, who's at Marquette, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and I did this little exploration into the deferral reasons over the last 10 years. And the blue bars, most left ones, are the ones to focus on here, because as you can see over time, the reasons for deferral due to environmental conditions has risen. And admittedly, those are mostly small streams, where low water is really negatively impacting them. You can't help but see that the trend is upwards. what it is. The fish issues are not unusual. Sometimes there's spawning fish in the river at the same time, and we tried to avoid those. The non-concurrence could be First Nation, tribal, or even a landowner not wanting us on a property. And if it's where our main AP site is, application point, we can't do the treatment. The last group, the other, is for other reasons. Like we've had to abandon ship because we just didn't have enough people for our treatment. Or there was a research project occurring that had sturgeon in cages and we didn't want to treat over those. They're young sturgeon. So now I'm going to go on to the jurisdictional landscape, which covers issues 1, 2, and 4, the species, pesticides used, and the jurisdictional issues. This slide is, I'm not picking on any one group here. I'm just showing you that in any given stream, we may have to have 4 permits to deliver that treatment. It's no different in the USA. This one shows even more. So a river in Cheney could, in the wildlife area, could require all of these permits. Behind the scenes, every one of our staff has a permit relative to the state they work in or province that lets them use apply pesticides. We have a special, we have permit for transportation of dangerous goods. We have a permit to drive trucks that carry a lot of weight. So what I mean by this is we're well permitted to do our work. It just takes a lot of work to get those permits and to report on them. An opportunity here might be, and I've seen it happen once recently, is where our report, if we would have one report that satisfied everybody, that would be amazing. And by accident, we had that happen where an agency that had not required our reporting looked at what I gave to M&R, that's Ontario Ministry of Natural Resources, and we're happy with that report, but with their name put on it. Easy fix. That worked great. But right now, every one of them gets a separate report. Now, that's a time challenge. For species of concern, issues 1, 2, and 4 again, the main point of this slide is that and it's really important, a big challenge is every year we're being asked to, can you do it in August, can you do it in September, can you not do it in whatever. So our timing windows are getting shorter, and when you have to do 100 treatments a year and plan it with your counterparts so that we're working together properly and account for that environmental stuff I just showed you, the window gets really small. And this is a bit of an exaggeration, but not really. The Michipicoten River, which is north of here by about 3.5 hours, to avoid lake sturgeon, we try to treat later into summer and fall. That's also when the private, when OPG, Power Generation Authority, can give us our flows, but at the same time there's Chinook and pink salmon coming in towards the end of August, and at the beginning of August there are other factors we can't really accommodate, like there's an elders on the land thing that's really important to the community, Michipicoten First Nation, and we're jammed into a 2-week, literally a 2-week window. That's really hard to maintain. But there are opportunities there, and that one's mostly communication. Loss of barriers, issue 3. From our perspective on the Lampricide control side, is when that barrier, this is a picture of 2 on the Tittabawassee, the Edenville and Sinford dams that collapsed in 2020. They added about 150 miles of stream, required 40 more staff days, so there's an immediate logistical impact for the entire program. Where all that time we had to do other things, just got taken up by that river. That river was, and in our first year of treating that river, there's a risk of not knowing how that river is going to behave in terms of pH and alkalinity changes during the day, which are common in the middle of Michigan. Other issues that happened due to the loss of those dams was related to issues 1, 2, and 4, the species, pesticide use, and 4, we never used a pesticide in that stretch of river, so pH and alkalinity swings can affect its efficacy. But there are also species at risk up there that we had to then be aware of and then maybe do actions to prevent their harm. Oh, I've not missed anything. So that it had the potential to harm our social license, because whenever we goof up once, nobody forgets. That segues into this one. So the Muskegon River was a really good example of where we address a social license issue. In that river, there's a lot of sturgeon, and our treatment can harm young deer sturgeon. So we actually have a program in place called, I forgot its name already, SOS, the SOS partnership, where they take sturgeon out, keep them in a first tribal hatchery, and then put them back afterwards. It seems to be very successful and it's popular. But there's an example of the full picture where we took into account a species at risk and worked with the Little River Band, to try to not harm sturgeon. It seems to work. So I talked about all the top 4 issues as best as I could, but it's such a wicked problem that I can't do it justice in this time slot. I could talk about one for this entire thing, but I'm not going to. No matter what, as you saw, I had all these pictures of salmon throughout the slideshow. So no matter what we do and what the outcomes are, keep in mind that those fisheries and the ecosystems that are related to those predators benefit from what we do. There are some collateral issues. I touched on most of these opportunities. I'm going to keep highlighting that communications one. And I'm near the end of my time, so I'm plugging the GLFC here because Mark and his team's work up on the hill, both hills, has been instrumental in the social license issue, but also in securing funds for us to keep doing our job. Jill's group, her communication group, many of who are here, you can thank them because their recent change in the way they're approaching treatments has made the social license side during treatments a lot easier for us to deal with because they've been there with us, posted on their page, Facebook page or Twitter, and it has been working. It's new to us, especially in Canada, and it's excellent. And again, also the research capacity is really important. I talked about new Lampricides. There's also resistant stuff you'll hear about soon. Ben's information, he put all that into a paper, which makes it much more marketable and in a one-stop read, which is really important to show 2020's impacts. I'm going to run out of time, so I'm going to go ahead. This was my last slide. The time-tested solutions. Communication is the most important part of every solution. I think early, timely, accurate. The picture with the children at the outreach show, that's on purpose because those kids are never going to forget what they just saw. And they often come back year after year to annoy you. No, I mean they're really keen. I have to thank my co-authors, Lori Krieger and Chris Eilers from Marquette and Ludington. And with that, I can wait for the panel to take questions or take one now.
If somebody's got a burning question for Bruce, have at it. Otherwise, we'll look for informal discussions at the break over lunch and then at the panel.
Good.